Welcome back to Friends Green Porsche Prep Book, episode 43. In this episode, we're going to be featuring the two cars behind me. We've got an Atlas Grey Carrera 4S on my right and a Seal Grey C4S on my left. It's going to be a two-part episode. In part one, you're going to see the work being done to the Atlas Grey car, and in part two, the work to the Seal Grey car.
Yeah. So both these cars are going to be getting a full suspension refresh, but most importantly, they're both going to be getting the coilover setup fit to them. So the Atlas Grey car's getting the KW V3 setup, and then the Seal Grey car is actually going to be getting the Ohlin Road Track setup. So in the video we'll show you the fitting of this, the adjustment of this, and then we're going to take them out on the road and give our opinion of how they feel.
Good morning. We have the Atlas Grey car in the workshop. It's the second day actually that's being worked on. So if we have a look underneath it and see what Ollie's got done so far. Okay, so as there's so much work on this car and the other car, we're not going to go into great detail on all the bits we're doing. We've done the IMS bearings being done many times, so we're not going to show that. But the gearbox essentially has been out yesterday. Inspected the IMS bearing with the view to replace it, found it's already been upgraded by a previous garage. The rear main seal was leaking, so that's been replaced. The clutch was about half worn, did you say?
Yeah, it was about half.
Yeah, so I had a conversation with the customer, said, look, half worn, do you want to do it for the cost of the clutch, which is about £300. So replaced the three-piece clutch kit. Now, the job that's being done now, this car, I'd say the worst condition of this car is probably the brake pipes, actually, isn't it? The whole, usually on the 996, you'll get one or two brake pipes that look a bit crusty, but on this car, all the brake pipes are due for renewal. So there's one that we call everyone calls the crossover, the up and over brake pipe, and it goes up and over the gearbox, and you can only replace that with the gearbox removed. So Ollie, of course, did that when the gearbox was removed for the work we were just saying about. Shall we show the kind of the following of that? So it goes from that junction box.
Yeah, it's a shame because they fell only down here. That's where they get the most corrosion, because you get water build up in here, and that's actually where they fell. You can have a quick look down here before we show that.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly explain. So there's an under tray here usually covering this section, and then the water builds up, not because of the under tray.
It's actually only just in that section.
Yeah, just in that clip.
And as you can see how thin it is, it will literally just break off like that.
Let me focus on that. How did that pass the last few MOTs?
Yeah, you can see it's just almost nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, water builds up inside that clip, sits there and rots them out, and there's an under tray there. So at an MOT, what tends to happen is they can't see that, so it'll go through the MOT, and we've actually heard of them bursting that location on the rollers at MOT. But anyway, it goes from there, goes back. That's the near side rear one going to the near side caliper, and then the up and over one follows from there, up there, over the gearbox. I'm struggling to trace it on the camera, but anyway, it links up here to the flexi on the other side and then goes to that caliper. So that's been done. The near side rear one we were just talking about, Ollie's done, and then we've replaced, you've done the braided lines, haven't you, for the flexis? Yeah. The flexis were replaced with Goodrich braided lines, and the little short caliper pipes have been replaced because they were heavily corroded as well. Here we go. Have we got the old ones on the floor as well to show?
Oh, the rear caliper pipe.
Yeah. So which one are you doing now?
So I'm doing the front to rear brake pipe. These corrode quite badly on the bottom here, as you can see. And you also often get a bit of corrosion up the top there, but they're also hidden away. Apart from this bit's always exposed, that's why they suffer and tend to get really badly corroded here.
So yeah, these go from front to rear, up in this arch liner, come down, run along the passenger seal, go to that junction box that we were just talking about, that then runs back to the up and over brake pipe in the near side rear. Do you want to show explain the technique when they're very badly corroded?
I can show it when I do these ones if you want.
What, cutting it in?
You can just
Okay. Right, we're rolling. So just to finish off that front to rear pipe, what else do you have to remove in the arch liner here?
So once you remove the arch liner, you've got the washer bottle, which actually sits up in that sort of in that cavity in the wing there. So you have to remove that because there's a pipes run, and see I've got mine clipped here already. But they clip in under here, which is behind the washer bottle there.
Where does that run to?
They follow up here and go straight into that junction box here. Yeah. And often a technique we use, especially to get these out, because with a car like this and how corroded they are, they're always really tight in there, and you can't get a ring spanner on it or a normal spanner on it, and they'll just end up rounding out the head. So we tend to chop the brake pipe off and just get a normal hex head socket on there to get them out, basically. Which I can show you now if you would like.
Yeah, go on, take it away. Show us in action. I can see you've done that. I can see you've done that here.
Try to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to grey as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
Trying to take a video. It's a new day. We've got the Atlas Grey C4S still on the ramp. The last thing you saw being completed was, well, you were cutting off brake pipes, weren't you? And we were about to lower the front subframe to do what we call the crossover brake pipe, because it crosses over from one side of the front to the other across the front subframe, and power steering pipes.
Yeah.
So you've had the steering rack out and extracted some rusty old power steering pipes. Should we just show it in the car in situ?
Yeah.
So those two green coloured power steering pipes off the steering rack there, they are the new ones. So they always get heavily corroded, they were very crusty. And then you can see the crossover brake pipe.
Crossover brake pipe. It's not clipped in at the moment because you've still got to put the caliper and braided line on.
So that runs from this caliper across the other side to that junction box, doesn't it?
Quite grip down this part. It runs over to this side.
We'll come round.
So it runs past there, it loops around here.
Let's see if I can get it in there.
It's quite hard to see. Probably won't be able to see it.
I can see the power
It's
steering
so
pipes.
hidden. And then it follows up here into that junction box up the top there.
And it makes its way back to the master cylinder and the reservoir.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. So next on the agenda, front suspension, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going through hell. I fake like I'm fine, but I know you can't tell. Like nothing I found, my mind overwhelms. I think that I'm broken, but I hope you can't help. I know I'm not perfect, but some days I feel far more worthless. Baby, you make me feel nervous. If I still have you, I have purpose. It's all worth it. I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. I guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to grey as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
Welcome back to the workshop. today we were just working out is day number 6 and we're on the home straight. So we'll have a look around. I think the last bit of commentary was we had the whole front end just dismantled effectively and Ollie was finishing off the brake pipes, but he found an additional one that needed doing, and now every single brake pipe that's exposed to the elements on the car has been replaced, so we'll show that quickly. Here we are back in the near side front wheel arch liner, and the brake pipe, the additional one that Ollie's had to do is the one that runs on this junction box from the back side there where my finger is, if you can see it, and then it runs around here down to this, which was a flexi hose, which is now a braided hose. So that wasn't particularly corroded, was it, Ollie? You just couldn't get it undone from the union there.
Yeah, it was seized into
the bracket.
Into the brake hose. It was seized into the brake hose here, and it just stripped the whole threads out.
So it wasn't particularly because it was corroded?
Well, yeah, it was just corroded in the joint here. It had slight surface corrosion, but it was so seized in here. The other side, in fact, actually snapped when I took it out, so...
The crossover one?
Yeah, they're very crusty.
So that's every single brake pipe on the car, but for the ones that are in the luggage compartment. So you've got the reservoir, master cylinder, ABS pump, then it comes down to this junction box you've just seen here, which then distributes the pipes out. So we've got one that goes across the front subframe there, which we call the crossover pipe, meets up to the caliper on that side. We've then got the one we've just spoken about going to this caliper. We've got the 2 front to rear ones that we've spoken about, that you can see up here, and then running around the wheel arch liner and going back, and then going to the near side caliper, and then up and over, brake pipe that goes over the gearbox to the other caliper. So what's happening now? You're just doing a final bleed up. You bled it up once, haven't you? And now going around and bleeding them all up a second time just to make sure. Very quickly, we didn't mention it, but we took some clips that you'd have seen. It's had new radiators both sides, coolant radiators and the air conditioning condensers. And it's had further coolant system work, so the lower hoses onto the rads as well are new. So they're prone to corroding inside the connection piece there. And then coolant work. What else, Ollie? There was a pipe, wasn't there? One of the big ones.
Yeah, that was badly corroded.
So this was corroded on the end and leaking.
So we clean it up as memory and just put a bit of sealant around it to create.
So on the 997s, when these over-engine coolant pipes are corroded like that, there's no saving them because they're not just held on with a hose and a Jubilee clip like that. They're actually got a kind of flared connection piece, which you'd have seen in previous videos, and they crack and corrode and you have to replace them. But with this, we're able to clean that up and reseal that essentially. And then the last thing was the low temp thermostat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Come over here. So low temperature thermostat's quite a popular upgrade. So lets the coolant go around the engine earlier. I think they open up at 83 degrees rather than 91 degrees. And then you put a new coolant hose on there from the thermostat as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. The interesting bit of suspension.
Yeah, so we've got
everything's new.
Suspension.
Let's have a little look around, shall we?
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to
we've got H9 roll bars here. We've got full set of CT arms, upper and lower.
There's a full set of 5 arms per corner on the rear.
We've got these lovely KW.
Do you want to show the adjustment on them then?
Which you can actually, yeah, you can adjust the stiffness on them. There's just a little dial at the back here. So we're going to notch it back to 3 to have it sort of in the middle.
So it's 1 to 5. We're going to set it at 3 in the middle and see how it feels. There you go, I can see it on there.
Do the same on the other side, and we just need to do the front.
So just put on the stiffer anti-roll bars, front and rear. Show the front as well. All new arms on the front too. So you've got lower control arm, trailing arm. And we've already said we did the track rod ends and the inner track arms. And the adjustment for the front shocks is right at the bottom of the shock there. So something nice we want to show about these KW coilovers is how the rotation works on the shock absorber itself. So we've got a standard original top mount here. As you can see, there's a bearing on the top there. And that basically deals with the rotation, doesn't it? So you've got top mount bolted to the body of the car.
This just spins.
Stiff because it's new, isn't it? Yeah. And then you've got a spring retainer underneath that, haven't you? And then it's all bolted together basically, and the rotation just works on that bearing. Whereas on these, we've got a built-in bearing encapsulated in this part of the coilover. Do you want to turn the wheel from the other side? So you can see extra rotation happening in there relative to there. It's just a nice, high quality setup with these shock absorbers that we like. So the bit at the top is stationary while that bit down here turns. So just going to show the final adjustments that you get on these KW V3s, which you don't get on the KW V1s or V2s, which is the rebound adjustment, which is done on the top of the shock here. You get this little toolkit. Obviously this spanner's for adjusting the ride height on the springs. This little tool goes in the top of the shock. It's a bit awkward to get in. So you put that in that little grub screw, and then you can adjust the firmness or softness of the rebound. You can see that's quite awkward to get in there. So we're going to set that to the middle, just like we've set the compression on the underside, which we've shown you, to the middle as well, and see how it feels. Ollie's set the ride height. He asked for a 30mm below standard. So we'll get that outside and see how it looks, shall we? Do you think you've still got a bit of fine tuning to do on the ride height? Oh, you've got to do the rear, okay, fine. So this is kind of the game that you end up playing when you fit a set of coilovers. This is the second adjustment we've made. To get out of the workshop, roll it around a little bit, let it settle, get it on a flat bit of road. Do you want to go back a little bit? You're slightly on the cobbles, just a little bit, yeah. Yeah, we're low on the front and high on the back. We're nosediving into the ground at present. Time consuming, isn't it? Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Wants to come up on the front by what, 5mm, and down on the rear by 5mm by the looks of it. Right, so we're just going to show kind of tweaking the ride height adjustments. So we're setting the tyre pressures before doing this. And if we come into the wheel arch here, so rather than keep pulling it in and out of the workshop onto the ramp, which takes a while every time you've got to do this, this will be the 5th adjustment we're making on this. Taking the wheels up, off and jacking it up. And then to adjust it, we're loosening the grub screw on this spindle here with the same tool that you saw me using to adjust the rebound on top of the shock absorber a few minutes ago. Loosening that off. we've got to find 6 more. Are we going higher by 6 more mil, aren't we?
Yeah.
Go on, you take it away and do the adjustment on that then. Just mind that doesn't fall out the micrometers. Do that, take another measurement on those micrometers, put the wheels back on, and then we will take another setting simply with this from the floor to the underside of the wheel arch. We've got the rear about right now, so we're just trying to match up the front. We've taken measurements of a standard car. So that's our final adjustment on this side, and we feel that's sitting absolutely bang on. We've ended up being 23 mil lower than standard ride height from a standard C4S that we've got here that we've measured, front and rear. So now what we're going to do, we've got our measurements between the hub and the bottom of the spindle lock, and we're just going to get the same measurement on the other side.
You're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to grey as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
Hello, welcome back. It's been about 2 months since I was stood here with these 2 cars behind me. It's also about 10 or 15 degrees colder, as you can see from the snow on the roofs and the hat on my head. Maybe we should start selling these on the website. But both cars are done. We went through the Atlas Grey car in its entirety pretty much and commentated on what had been done to that one. The Seal Grey car we didn't. I didn't want to make the video too long and repetitive. So quickly, let's just run through what it's had done to it.